in the zone, 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 podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, 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 in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, in the zone, in the zone, in the zone, podcast, 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 in the zone.
Yo, what's happening, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the In the Zone podcast. It is your boy B Foster. Brian Foster is in the building. Happy Wednesday. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be a special after school special. Sure, I'm kidding.
Did you not?
I'm
Could you
kidding.
not think of anything more clever than
I'm
that?
kidding. It hit
We
me.
gonna talk about a bill. How a bill is made.
No, after school specials. We're going to talk about like drugs. Say no to drugs.
I feel like we need an after school special to
gangs.
explain the three branches of government.
We need more than that.
Well,
Because people are slow. Hey, thank you for joining us once again. It's your boy B Foster, and then as always, my co-host is with the most is Chantel. What's happening?
hey, I don't know. He's drunk and I'm just feeling silly, so I'm happy to be here. He's being okay. So the camera is like literally like 3 feet in front of us, and it's normally not. So it's very odd. It's new
fine.
to be so different.
I know. Usually we got people on the edges. It's a thing. It's a thing. How you doing? Everything good?
I'm good. I'm intrigued to get into the world of Brian's friends and how they fuel or drain him.
Okay.
I feel like it's gonna be more draining than fueling you, but this will be interesting.
When you got friends like Chantel, it tends to be
Wow,
a little draining.
Y'all see how mean he is to me?
It's jokes all in
Week
love.
after week, I just come out here and try to love on him,
Yeah.
and this is what I get.
Yeah, that's what you're gonna keep getting. So we are discussing today friendships
Yes.
that either fill you up or drain you. And we've all got friends, and maybe they're the same friend that fill your cup one day and drain that cup right on down the other day. It really kind of depends. Shantas, let me ask you this before we even get into the questions.
Mm-hmm. And my whiteboard, I'm be
And
fun
she's got
today.
a whiteboard. She got a whole little thing.
Yeah. What?
Friendships.
Yes.
How much value do they play in your life?
Oh, I mean, I've talked about that. My friends are it's gonna be weird to say. I put all my relationships on the same level. I mean, obviously not acquaintances, but like my friends, my family, my romantic relationships, I feel like they all have equal value and
Mhm.
equal importance to me.
Mhm.
Now, obviously, people have different roles that they play, but I find my friendships very, very valuable. They mean the world to me. I curate them, I keep them for a long time, and I try to keep it that way.
Really?
I do.
It's very interesting.
Why is that interesting?
I don't think I've met any of your friends.
You sat at dinner and met several of them. Stop it.
I already knew them.
Well,
And
that's
half
not my
of-
fault. You knew everybody in Chicago. That's not
And
my
half
fault.
of them I introduced you to.
That's not accurate.
Hold on. Let's do a count of people that was at dinner.
Sure.
Name them.
I don't know if they want to be. Okay, my sister-in-law. She's been on here.
Okay. Yep. Sister-in-law.
You can't take
Can't
her.
claim her.
Fine. Jen.
Claimed.
Your wife.
Claimed.
My friend Nick. You can't claim him.
Okay, I knew him, but I can't claim
But that's not my fault. You know him.
Facts. Okay.
Steve.
You didn't even meet him till that night.
I've known Steve for 20
All right,
years.
fine.
What
Steve.
are you talking
Okay,
about?
fine.
This is
Steve.
what I'm saying.
Fine,
And
Steve.
then, of course, the person I am dating.
And Keisha.
First of all, and Keisha, sorry.
That's
I
half the
forgot
table.
about that.
And then me. Boom.
And you didn't come. Well,
Boom.
you would have met my best friend who
Who
probably
wasn't
do
I
know.
said at dinner. So that's 3 people at a 10-person table. I'm just saying.
It was 9. And Angie was supposed to be there. So
And Angie, thank you for making my point.
Whatever. That is anyway, he asked me how important my friendship. What about
Fantastic.
you? Your 200 friends. How important are all 200?
I love each and every one of you the same. No, they are super important to me. Most of my friends, like I know a lot of people, clearly. And a lot of people know me, clearly. And I've got a lot of people that I consider friends, but my friends, like my inner circle, these are the same folks I've known since high school, mostly, and a couple in college, right?
Okay.
It's hard to break into, and a few I've met over the years as an adult, but it's really like hard to break into that circle of knowing me because I've known people. I do love you, Stephanie. Co-workers, former co-workers. But I hold those people close and dear, particularly in my inner circle. And then there's, there are ranks. There's here, and then there's here, and then there's here.
It's like a Venn diagram.
I'm just saying, it's like it's
or
like
a bullseye.
it's like a bullseye or a tree circle, right? Like there's people I've known since I was 16. That people that I met when I was 35 might not be as close, but that doesn't mean I don't hold those relationships tight and dear.
How do you work your way? Just for people who may be wondering, how do you work your way, right? You got all these friendship circles, probably like 30 different levels, right? How do you work your way into the core of like Brian's friendship circle? Like what do you need to do to get like, because I assume like the people in the center are like, yo, like
my day ones.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess nobody can get in day ones. But I mean, there are people you're closer with than others, and they all aren't based on the fact that they went to Whitney Young.
Facts.
But how does one, if they're outside here in like
or John J. Persian, shout out.
Your acquaintance circle, what do they have to do to work their way into like the inner circle?
I mean, to say they work their way in, like they're trying to work their, like that's not how
some people do.
That's not really how it is. I think this is real cliche, but people are in your life for a season and a reason and all these things.
One of my least favorite sayings.
But it's true. Some folks come into your life for a specific amount of time, and you might not be friends after that, or you might be super close at a certain point and then not as close later, and then maybe get super close again. So I don't think there's anything that anybody can necessarily do, or even trying to do to get into my.
They can't pay you.
The closest of the close. I am for sale. I think it's just a matter of right time, right place, right circumstance.
Okay.
They need me, I need them, and that brings. And once I can trust you, once you've supported me in a way that I will always forever cherish, it's extremely hard to get out of that circle.
I got kind of a messy question.
Okay.
Have you ever been friends with somebody who thinks they're closer to you than they actually are?
Most of my friends, no.
You ain't shit. And how do you navigate that if you know?
I think friends. I think there are a lot of acquaintances that probably think they know me better than they do, that think they're tighter with me than they think they are. Yeah, I don't even know where to go from there. And that's cool, right? Like I think because I do appreciate people in my space, no matter what space they take up. But when
I know that's right, Spence.
goddamn right, Spence. But I think I cherish those relationships at the level they're at, and sometimes, and there's probably people that I think I'm closer to than I probably am not. But
Y'all notice he's not answering the question.
what was the question?
The question is, have you ever had a friendship where they thought they were closer to you than they actually were?
And I've answered the question. I think there are people that exist in this world that feel they're probably tighter with me than they are. Yes. But I don't manage those relationships. I just think that I appreciate them and they appreciate me, but they just might think they're a little bit closer to the inner circle than they are.
Oh, that's sad.
I don't think it's sad.
Well, it's sad that they think they closer than they are.
I don't think that's sad because I don't treat them like
they not
like
special.
they're ants in my little ant farm. I just, it's just that it's again, the people that I know and care for and love the most I've known since I was 13, 14, 15 years old. It's hard to kind of drill past that.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that if I met you when I was 28 and you're in my crew that I don't love you.
Okay.
It's just hard to love you exactly the same for somebody I've known since I was an adolescent.
Okay. That's totally fair. I would just imagine somebody with your level of what's the word y'all say, popularity?
Whatever.
Popularity, you probably have a few people around thinking they cooler than they actually are.
That's kind of the definition of popularity, isn't it?
Not cool like they're cool, but cooler with you than they actually are.
Yeah, that's kind of what
I'm not popular, so I don't know anything about that.
Let's get to the question.
I am normal.
Whatever.
I just realized I need an eraser. Jake, I don't know if we have an eraser out there. If not,
you better lick that finger and wipe that.
Right. That seems like the thing to do on camera.
Because you're above that. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. So the first question, and don't laugh at my handwriting. It's not great. Who are the 5 people you spend the most time with?
And we're not talking about family, clearly.
I mean, if you have a family member that you close with.
The cap on the market.
Look, she ain't right, Jake Helper. All right. This is why you can't really, because obviously the 5 people I spend the most time with are my wife and my kids.
Okay. Well then no.
So you can't put them in there, and I'm eliminating folks from work as well.
Okay.
Unless you work with your best friends.
This is a 2-part question. I missed the other part. I'm sorry because it wasn't that much.
It's all good.
Who are the 5 people you spend the most time with, and how do they influence your energy, mindset, and hobbies?
All right. So we're talking about friends. We're talking about friends. Because we're talking about friendships, not loving relationships, not family. So the 5 people I probably spend the most time with are.
We gotta name these people.
No, okay. All right. I won't name them. I will. Maurice Walton, Shane Evans, Bambi Jenkins. I have zero shame about naming my people.
That's 3.
Oh, on a friendship level.
Shane, Reese.
You.
Hey! I wonder if I was gonna make it to the top 5.
I mean, I'm sitting here with you every week, so it's kind of hard by default.
I mean, you may spend more time. You may see them every day, and I'm in like number 6 instead of number 5. It's fine.
Spend time, but that doesn't mean I have to necessarily see him face to face, right?
No. You spend time over the phone.
Yeah, and then my ship Derek. So those are probably my closest 5, and there's a reason for that, even with you.
Okay. There's a reason outside the fact that we do a show every week.
Outside that.
Oh, okay. Then what's the reason?
Didn't we just sit around your house for a couple of hours?
We did.
And
we don't do that very often.
We don't get a chance to.
But we don't get a chance to. This nigga drink every goddamn Wednesday. We don't get a chance to.
I'll be at work before that. Anyway, I think the basis for this question is how they feed into you. And I think how they feed into you is why, hopefully, why you spend so much time with them. And each of my people feed me in different ways. There are certain people that I can be, all of them can be my true, authentic self, no doubt, which is why I spend so much time with them. But also, like, some people drive me in a business sense, right? Like, we have partnerships and dealings and make money and lose money together. And we coalesce like that, right? Like, that's just the business piece. Outside of just the friendship comes together. You can't do business with all of your friends. It just doesn't work out the best sometimes. And there's other folks that are like my emotional sounding boards. more so than others, right? Like when I'm going through some things, I'm having some questions or some troubles, or some wins and losses even, right? These are the folks that wins. These are the folks that I probably hit first, right? And then there are folks that I just want to talk about the world with, right? Like they're like just have, because I know we might not even agree necessarily on everything, but we can have like some open, honest conversations about things. And I trust that judgment, particularly if we don't agree, right? I want to hear a differing voice, a differing opinion, somebody that doesn't always vibe with the way I'm thinking. If you don't have that in your life, then you just got a lot of yes people, right? So they fill my cup in a variety of ways.
Aww.
But the great thing about it, though, is that each of them could cover any of those bases, right? Like I might come to you and talk about.
You can be emotional with Shane.
Absolutely. You'd be
Shane. What is Evans?
You'd be shocked. You'd be shocked.
You see the shock in all my face.
You'd be shocked at the conversations me and Evans have had about a
Okay.
variety of things.
Okay.
It's on a emotional level.
Okay. I mean, you know the man I don't.
Absolutely. A lot of the way you see people outside of your friendships are facades. They're the show. They're the shell. And when you get inside the gooey center, these are the real these are the real
Shane
people.
Has a gooey center.
Everybody has a gooey center.
Like a little gummy bear.
Yeah,
okay.
Everybody has a gooey center. If you're not getting into those in the gooey center, they're probably not really your friends. Friends. Like when we're talking about the definition of friendship, they're probably associates or really close acquaintances. But if I can't trust you with my innermost, what are we really doing here?
Okay, I think that's fair. That makes sense.
All right, so you don't have to name your 5. That might not be comfortable for you.
I had to think about it for a second. The problem is like the people I spend the most time with is hard because I've talked about this. I'm an introvert, so I don't talk to a bunch of people even every week. But if I was to drill it down to the people I'm the closest with, and I want to be fair, there's probably about 10 people that float in and out of this like I'm tight with crew. It would definitely be my best friend Chad. I know we said not family, but my cousin. I talk to her basically.
That's fair. That's fair.
My cousin. I talk to her every single day. I would definitely say Keisha, even though I stole her from you, but that's fine.
No, Keisha didn't make mine. Keisha.
I guess I would have to put Tony in there because that would be weird if I didn't. And you for sure. What was the second part of the goddamn question? Here, you questioning me. What's the second part of the question?
So how do they fill you up? How do they support you?
Oh, damn it. Can I add a 6? Johnny too. Sorry, I gotta add Johnny.
Sure.
They all do it differently. I will say this. I'm vulnerable with everybody. If I'm tight with you, even like my top 15 people, I'm vulnerable. And I think the one thing that people don't know about me is that I am the same all the time. I think you can speak to that, right? Like there is no like podcast Chantel and then like
I wish there was
personal Chantel.
Jesus,
like
I wish there
she's
was
the same all the time.
Can we make a Chantel podcast?
You can. I don't know.
Avatar. I don't know what that is. But
I don't know. I could make a persona, but I'm the same all the time. And anybody who's known me, anybody who knows me like this much will tell you anytime they see me, I'm exactly the same. There is no airs of any type. And with that said, like Chad, I've known him, oh my God, since I was 19. I've known him a really long time. And he's probably the one person who knows where all the bones are buried. And I don't have a ton of bones. I only got like 20. And he knows all of them. He's the only person that knows all of them. And he keeps that. He's also my sounding board when I am being a girl, I will say, and being emotional. And not saying I can't be emotional with the other people, but I have a certain level of emotion that I can be with him. And he helps me prioritize, or he listens, and sometimes he doesn't know what to do, and he's just like, I don't know what to do here, so I'll just go listen. So I appreciate that he holds space for whatever I need in that moment, right? And I do the same for him. Who else was on there? Keisha. Yeah. Keisha, I will say, is probably my most inspirational friend. She just lives the goddamn life.
She does.
Jesus fucking
She absolutely does.
Christ.
She absolutely
She's
does.
moving next week to Mexico City. Hopefully y'all not gonna dox her. But she just lives the most incredible life. And it's fascinating to just like talk to her and how she thinks, the things she's doing. She's always like trying to incorporate you and whatever she's doing. She's just that type of friend. And I love that about her because she could very easily be a gatekeeper, just given the life that she lives. And she's absolutely not. And I will also say, I will share this. Me and her had kind of an intense fallout at the beginning of our relationship. And, and, you know, I can appreciate somebody, and it was my fault. I'll be honest. It was my fault. You're really unhelpful. And I can appreciate someone who can step outside themselves and say, okay, let's really dissect this. Let's get past this because of the person she valued me for. But I love Keisha. She's definitely.
Well, I think that's, and you don't have to break it down person by person, but I think that's part of.
But I have to, because each person does something different. Okay, all right. Everybody doesn't. Doing it. They don't all. I mean, they all hold space for me, but in such very different ways.
But I think that's an important point that you make, that friendships aren't always the smooth sailing waters, right? Like that's part of the thing of friendship, is that you're gonna have some ups, you're gonna have some downs, you're gonna have a fucking fight. If you've never, hold on, let me think.
I will say I've never had a fight with Chad, but most of my other friends I've had some kind of disagreement with. Because even me and you have had a disagreement.
Yeah, most of the time though, it's gonna be, you're gonna disagree, and it's fine. And the true measure and test of a friendship is that you move past that.
Yeah,
you love each other enough to accept whatever happened and say, hey, I need this, I need that.
Yeah.
Boom.
And that's fair. I'm gonna leave Johnny. I probably won't even talk about Johnny now. It's saying Kristen.
Who the hell's Kristen?
That's my cousin.
Oh,
my cousin. It's very interesting. I get to counsel her, which helps me reflect back on myself. Kristen is almost 10 years younger than me. She's married. She has 2 kids, right? So we have a lot of conversations about what's going on with her. She's gotten to a point in her life. She wasn't always like this, where she actually comes and asks for my advice. And, you know, a lot of the times I can give it to her. Sometimes I can't, but it allows me the opportunity to pour into her, which I really appreciate. And I get to see those seeds kind of bloom and sow, and I really enjoy being able to counsel her like that. It feeds into, and then I get to reflect back at what I was like at 25 or 32 or then you like, God damn, I was a goddamn mess.
Mess.
I mean, she's way more together than I was.
They usually tend to be.
Yeah, but I love being able to do that with her. Who else did I say? Tony. I mean, what can I say? He allows me to grow emotionally as a human being. He allows me to be transparent. He allows me to be not so pulled together. Okay. I've found that a lot of people think like my shit's always tight, and that is totally untrue. People have said that to me, you hater.
I didn't say that.
I see your face. He allows me to not be so together and have the moments of my shit ain't together. And I've actually been able, I don't like asking for help. Shocker, I know. And he makes it easy for me to ask for help.
That's what's up.
So,
and I'm a combination of all of them. I got it.
And yeah, I mean, Brian is just fucking Brian. Brian is fun. Brian is complex. That's my favorite part of Brian. Brian, as non-complex as this nigga looks, he is one of the most complex people I've ever, self-aware and complex. And it's a joy to be a part of that. So I don't do business with people very often, so I can't talk about that part.
That's a whole. It's hard to do business and friendships. It is. Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, Brian Foster.
Yes. You wanna put
no, because it's not fun. Not as fun as I thought it was gonna be.
All right.
Wow.
So what's the difference between someone who challenges you versus someone who competes with you?
Oh man, I did this question.
Is competition necessarily bad in friendships?
I'm gonna answer the last question first. I think it depends, right? Like I'll say this to Keisha all the time, that I'm jealous of her. And she hates that I say that. And I do not mean that in a it's really just like, gosh, I really love your life. And I think if it's competitive in that way, where it's like, you doing some cool shit, I want to do some cool shit, and then we talk about some cool shit. I'm messing up the mics already. It's a damn shame. I think it's fine to be competitive in that nature. I think it's not cool when you are coveting somebody's life or
Interesting.
coveting somebody's anything, that's a space of a recipe for disaster, because now you're too hyper focused on the thing versus the person, to me. So I don't think competition is a bad thing. I just think what's the root of it at the end of the day. But what was the first part of the question?
Challenge. The difference between.
I think the difference between challenging and being jealous, that's a really great question. I think it's about accountability at the end of the day, right?
Elaborate.
So if somebody is challenging you on some level, right? Like, let's say, we'll take me and Brian, for instance, right? Let's say I wanted to start a business. I think Brian would sit and probe and ask questions, right? In an effort to not only understand what I'm doing, but to help me kind of build on the idea. And I think he would also follow up to make sure I'm doing it, right? That's what I mean by the accountability piece. You're challenging them to grow. Now, you're not doing it intentionally because you I need to see them do better, but this is all part of the process of that. So I do think challenging somebody has an air of accountability in there as well. Y'all know y'all love saying women need to be accountable, so there you go.
Here we go. So it's interesting. Yeah, I think you're right. And even with the challenging part, right? So I think the difference between challenging and competition is
competition, that was the word.
Yeah, if you want to start a business, right? And I'm asking a bunch of questions, I'm challenging your assumptions, I'm challenging your thought process, I'm challenging your business model, maybe even I'm challenging you to do better.
Yeah.
As opposed to competition, I think it's like, I'm not really challenging you right now. I'm in a phase of I'm trying to do better then.
Yeah, and I'm trying to build a strategy to outdo you.
To be superior, right? So I think that as friends, we should challenge each other. We should challenge each other's thought patterns. We should challenge each other's assumptions. We should challenge each other to rise and grow. And that's what a friendship really is. If I'm just letting you be content where you are in life from 18 to 88, I'm not, to my opinion, I'm not a real friend.
Well, what do you mean by that, right? Like, let's say it's a person who, they got a job, they got a house, they got the family, all of that is squared away, but they just like being a executive assistant. They have no aspirations to do anything more than that. They feel like their life is full with that.
Well, it doesn't necessarily even have to be about the business, right? Like if I know you're on heart medication and I'm never challenging, like, get your ass on the treadmill. You know what I'm saying?
What if it's a heart murmur?
Stop, whatever. I'm saying it doesn't always have to be about you professionally. It could be about you emotionally. It could be about your physical health. It could be about your mental wellness, whatever. I know you got issues. Have you been to counseling, bro? There's no stigma. I know there's a negative stigma and it's loosening in our society and in our culture as Black people around it. Bro, it's cool. You really should talk to somebody about it, right? Like, if I'm not pushing you to be your best self at all times, challenging you, I'm not really being the best friend I can be. Now, I will say the difference with competition and challenge between men and women.
What do you mean, like men and women friendships?
No.
Oh, okay.
What I'm saying is I'm in constant competition with my boys.
Okay.
Constant competition. And it's not a bad thing. It's not that I wish them ill. It's not that I hope they fail, right? It's not like right now the NBA finals on. OKC hopes they beat the shit out of Indiana, right? I hope they lose, right? I don't want my boys to lose, but I want us to compete, because when we compete, we push each other to higher levels. Right now, if we playing one-on-one in my driveway, I want to beat your ass, right? I want to compete. But when I'm talking about competition, I'm talking like, hey, I got this, right? I got this degree, and I know you want this level of attainment educationally.
Yeah.
I'm competing with you to do that. Boom. I'm raising this level. And it's not necessarily a negative thing. When it becomes a negative thing is when I'm competing with you and I'm hating on your accomplishments.
Yeah.
Or I'm hoping you lose, or I'm hoping you fail, or I gotta be always.
Or it's attention seeking.
But I always gotta be better than you, no matter what it is. It might not even be important to me, but I gotta be better than you when because it's a competition.
Do you have friends like that?
I can't say that I do off the top of my head.
I'm actually a little surprised by that.
I think most of us have a healthy balance of challenge and compete. Right? Like I'm challenging your thought process. I'm challenging where you're thinking you want to go. I'm challenging this, but But we are in competition. Make no doubt or mistake about it. But our competition often comes along with bringing you along or opening a door for you to be a part of whatever I'm doing when I'm talking about business, right? Now, you might not always have the finances or the wherewithal or the emotional stability, to be frank, to come along on that ride. But generally, I'm trying to put that hand out to bring you with.
Yeah.
But if I see my boy and he got a 2-bedroom, 1-bath condo, I want a 4-bedroom, 2-bath condo. I'm just saying, this is how we move. And then when he get a house, goddamn right, I want a house with more.
I'm getting a McMansion.
I want more square footage. I want more acreage, right? And not to the point where I'm putting myself beyond what I can afford or what I can do, right? But I want to raise my game so that we because here, let's be frank, friendships often peter out, and they're not friendships almost always, to be frank, peter out, and they're not about even the emotional things. It's generally about somebody feeling like somebody's not on their level anymore. And it's not always a person that might have more accomplishments. A lot of the time, it's the person that doesn't have the same amount of accomplishments that remove themselves from that equation because they feel less than. They feel like they've been left out. They feel ostracized. I've got a family member who we were super tight coming up. Till we were in our 30s probably. And then my life took kind of a leap. His life took kind of a step back. And we've never been quite the same ever since.
Okay.
The love isn't different. I still go to war for him. And it's not, and to be frank, it's not really me.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I send text and messages and stuff that don't get responded to.
Oh. That feels like something actually happened. Maybe you're just not aware.
It's not if I send an individual text, yes. But let's say we're on a family text chain. And everybody else is kind of responding about this, that, and the other, and they just kind of silent.
Oh, okay.
So whereas they would have been the first usually to respond, right?
Okay.
So maybe it's not even just about me. Maybe it's our family dynamics. But
or maybe y'all muted. Y'all just
or maybe it's just turned off or whatever. But I think a lot of times the competition or the challenge, when someone feels like it's not met on their end, they kind of fall back. And it's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. Jake, can you go back to the question above Spence? I thought this was interesting. How do you navigate friendships and acquaintanceships when you aren't from around here? Also, I didn't pledge college, didn't have kids. I'm not married. I'm a business owner in engineering. You need to meet Toya. So it's difficult finding common ground specifically with Black women in Chicago.
I'll let you all like that as a Black woman.
Oh my God. Okay, so I am so not the right person because I am not a friendship maker. Here's what I will say, and I'm gonna be real honest, as somebody who's lived in Chicago my whole life, we are not the friendliest to new people.
We are cliquish.
That's just not. We are a heavily cliquish city. Like, we just are. I don't think it's an impossible feat to make inroads in Chicago. I'm just telling you now, it's going to be a challenge. I think the easiest way to begin to start making inroads is just find interest that you like, right? Is there a running club? I just saw a jump roping group. You're not Greek, so don't do that. Maybe like, what's the damn Urban League? Like, join some Urban League stuff. Like, find a Is it?
Yeah.
No, I just know somebody my age that did the Urban League thing about.
Oh, you talking about the
Impact group?
Impact. Yeah.
I mean, do something like that. Like, we have a shit ton of fucking events. And I will tell you something. Summertime Shy is probably going to be your optimal time to meet motherfuckers because everybody's outside, everybody's doing something. There's something going on every fucking day, multiple things going on every day. I think if you are an extrovert, you can find a tribe very easily. I think if you're an introvert, it's going to be much harder, again, because we're incredibly cliquish. But I do think it's going to take you a little bit of leg work to do. Hopefully that's helpful. And I mean, you're an engineer, so there's got to be some women engineer business group networking something or others. I mean, they boring as shit, but there's got to be at least one or two people you can walk away with and have a drink with later. I mean, all them networking shits is boring. It don't matter. Marketing, skydiving, it doesn't matter. They're all boring. Every last one.
Networking shit is boring till you get to the after party of the networking
shit. Yeah.
And then it turns up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a great question. And I mean, I'm not a woman, so I can't speak to that specifically. But
even just in general.
But no,
come to a Brian Foster event. Come to an In the Zone / Brian Foster event.
Facts.
I promise you, everybody drinks and they love to make a new friend. This is probably the only group I've ever seen where everybody likes to fucking talk to the new people.
No,
for sure.
For sure. I think it's I'm not gonna say me, my circle in particular, but I think there are circles, and you'll feel them when they happen, that are very forthcoming, are very open, are very happy to meet new people, because we're sick of seeing that same motherfucker I saw since high school.
Facts.
So it's great to see new people come around and have interesting and different dynamics and perspectives and all that good stuff. But most importantly, I think when you get in those dynamics or those circles, you got to be cool. And I'm not saying be like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm saying like you got to be a cool person.
True.
You can't dominate conversations. You can't be overly boisterous. You can't be over this and that, because that's in any circle. When you don't know anybody, that tends to turn people off. You kind of got to smooth into that later. But I think you find people that are of similar interest, of similar, to be frank, socioeconomic status, and because we haven't touched on that yet. And then I think once you kind of find your groove with those people, then be you. And then I think people will love you. But if you come out the gate kind of like that, I think folks might be a little weary.
I'm like, I mean, you could always ask the what high school did you go to question. Every Black Chicago person loves answering that dumbass question. That's how you can make friends.
For you, clearly.
I think that question is so stupid. We are 1,000 years old. Who cares?
We've had the rationale for why that question is asked, and
yet
you already know.
Still ask.
And you asked that shit too, so let's not act like you don't.
Please let us know if we were helpful in that.
Absolutely.
Also.
So let me ask you this: how do you handle tension when your growth makes others uncomfortable? And by others, I mean people in your friendship circle. Because it happens, and I just spoke to it.
So I've mentioned her before. So unlike Brian, I do not cycle out friends very easily. I do not have a big circle at all. I do not circle out.
I do not cycle out friends easily.
No, that's not what you kind of said before.
What did I say?
It doesn't matter. Anyway, back to the question. I have the majority of people who I'm friends with, I've known for a really long time. Now, to Brian's earlier point, yes, some people you're closer to than others, but 75% of my friends I've known for over 15 years, right? Shit, I lost my train of thought.
How do you handle the tension when your growth makes others
uncomfortable? So, I had a friend, and I'm not going to say we handled this the best. Oh, I had a friend, and me and her was super tight. Like, we lived together. We, over almost 20 years.
That's a good point, Spence. Absolutely.
I took this seminar that, and for whatever reason, I started to be a lot more open to how I felt about things. And she also went through some very traumatic stuff. So she was starting to become less able to receive criticism or opinions will probably be the best way. And I think the fact that we both kind of diverged on these different things made it difficult for us to have a relationship. And we ended up I just stopped talking to her because I just could not, I couldn't do it anymore. It was becoming very toxic. It was very draining. I would need a nap every time I talked to her. It was headache inducing. You hated her. So that was another reason to get rid of her. So I'm not saying this is the best route, but
I didn't hate her.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Fuck that bitch.
I'm not saying my method is the best route, but I will definitely say if I can't do a relationship anymore, more than likely I'm just going to stop communicating. And I'm not so sheltered that if you call me and ask me, I will tell you. I actually recently had a friend who I kind of stopped talking to her too around the same time. Not for the same reason, but because I just didn't even want to deal with that friend group anymore. She came to me a year ago and was like, well, what happened? And I was just like, well, this is what happened. And I had to stop talking to y'all because y'all were going to be trying to bully me into talking to her. And I just was fucking done with her. So I'm open to having conversations for sure. But if I'm fucking done with you, I'm done. And you're not going to get an explanation. Unless you come and directly ask me.
That's some woman shit. Let me ask you.
It is. I'm sorry.
Let me ask you. I'm gonna circle back to the previous question just a touch. They kind of tie in together.
Yeah.
So I think men and women handle these things differently.
I don't think y'all do. I think y'all do it exactly how I do.
Bullshit. I think men and women handle competition and
competition. Yes.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. And I think we even handle our conversations differently around conflict.
Okay.
Right? Like, here's the difference between men and women in some of this, right?
Sure, let's go.
Now, and it's not, there's no
Come on, Chris.
No, there's no disrespect.
Be a cat, a kid, not a cat.
Shut your ass up. There's no disrespect. What I'm saying is, me and my boys, me and most of my boys have probably at one point had a physical altercation.
Well, okay.
Wait, hold on. Hold on. Listen to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, even with that, we can get past it.
Okay.
Because the relationship, that's just how we kind of communicate in a way. I'm not even going to front.
That's fine. But if you fucking done with that nigga, you're not going to paint him no fucking soliloquy like, this is what happened and this is why and this is how you felt. What made me feel.
What I'm saying, though, is when we hit rough patches, we figure out a way to, and is that physical conflict sometimes, to move past it.
Okay.
And squash it. And right after you get through tussling, your shirt over here.
With your black eye?
Don't do that. Just sit there, then you be like, "You right," and then don't you do that as you wipe the blood. You be like, I'm not saying that that's a perfect way to get through it. But what I'm saying is, we find ways to navigate not losing that friendship.
Yeah.
Differently, I won't say better. Differently.
Yeah, I'm definitely not fighting. I'm just gonna say this. I don't know any women who can have a fucking fist fight and be friends afterwards.
Fist fight. You motherfuckers can barely have a confrontation.
Facts. This is not an untrue statement.
But how is that healthy?
Who said I said it was? I don't necessarily think it's healthy to get into a fucking fist fight to resolve issue. I think
I'm not saying you have to. I'm saying that if you talk to most men that have had a friendship longer than 20 years, we probably tussled over some bullshit.
I mean,
and I'm not saying that's the best way to deal with it. What I'm saying is, even if it's a verbal tussle, a verbal altercation, a fuck you, motherfucker. And then if the relationship means enough, we circle back. Yeah. Or we crush it in the moment after we've had that confrontation.
That's probably, I'm not going to argue whether that's true or not. What I'm saying is, I know very few people who can navigate a rough, they cannot navigate a hard time in a friendship in a healthy way. Because that shit ain't fucking healthy. What I do is not healthy. I don't know anybody who knows how to navigate.
I think going outside and wrestling in the yard is pretty healthy.
That's not healthy.
I think it's pretty healthy. You get the aggression out, boom, boom, boom. All right, so
I mean, if y'all agree to it, it's fine. But
I'm not saying I steal on him and he got to defend himself. I'm saying,
well, somebody got to start.
What I'm saying is, like, let's take it outside. Well, let's take it outside. Now we outside.
That's not healthy. The healthy way would be for everybody to sit down and express their feelings.
Who says?
And therapists.
Fuck them.
I don't know if anybody knows how to navigate, or maybe everybody knows. I think it's rare for motherfuckers to navigate these kind of treacherous waters in a healthy manner.
Okay, so
you do it unhealthy. You realize you love this person later. You run into him at a party. At least that's probably
that's women shit. This is the point I'm saying.
You run into him in a party. You get drunk. You end up talking about it. Everybody cries. You end up being friends later. That's pretty much how women do it.
That's the least healthy thing I've ever heard.
I didn't say. What did I say?
You prefaced it with that. But hold on. So you said this earlier.
Yeah.
And let's touch on. So you and I had I won't even say a falling out, a disagreement.
We did. You hurt my feelings is the truth. That you hurt my feelings. You said something that hurt my feelings. He didn't do it on purpose, but he said something that hurt my feelings. We had to have a conversation about it afterwards.
And I
Dawn, now you need to tell the goddamn truth, because you're gonna be like, I heard you and I totally understood. That is not how that happened.
No. You didn't even give me an opportunity.
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
But I did hold space for your feelings.
After you fucking were being a dick.
And then I started out with like, you're tripping.
Yes.
Because that's not what I meant.
And what did I say before that? I said, I understand you did not. I started off by saying, I know you didn't do it intentionally for this reason. Mm-hmm. However, as my friend, you must know you cannot say this to me because it hurts my feelings.
And then I said, you tripping.
Yes.
And then we went through that.
And you were like, I'm not having this fucking conversation with you. And I was like, the fuck you are. You were having it right my fucking now.
Because I thought it was over the top. Because you knew my you knew my intentions from jump weren't
Yeah.
negative or to hurt you or any of that. So my walking in that space is like, if you know that already, then why are we even having this conversation? But after I said that, then I said, you know what? I have to respect where you at and where you coming from, how you feel, and it's never happened again.
That's some bullshit. You do it all the time. I've just learned to love you through it.
Not like that.
No, before it was accidental. Now it's fucking intentional.
Oh, now it's intentional. Now I'm pushing buttons just to be pushing
you
them.
just doing it. And you did it like a month ago.
Yeah, but
then when everybody on the text thread was like, what's wrong with her? You're like, she didn't like what I said. She gonna get over it. It'll be fine. I was like, fucking bitch ass nigga.
But now it's intentional to just to push the buttons. Which is real
worse,
friendship.
which
is real
really
friendship.
Worse.
Hold on. There's another difference between men and women friendship. While we spiraled off the topic for a hot second. Men, we shit on each other and push each other's buttons and talk shit and try to piss each other off intentionally. Because that's how friendship works for us.
You know I don't have a dick, right?
What I'm saying is it's hard to get out of that sphere.
That's right. I was mad at you for the same shit, Jen, and both of y'all just have no respect for my feelings.
That's not true.
Shit.
Jen, you already know. What I'm saying is that people say this all the time. Ah, damn, you be shitting on such and such and such. That's because I love him. If I don't love you, I wouldn't even waste these good jokes.
Look at you.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't waste them.
Fine. I mean, I had to, you know what? I will be honest. One of the times you did, I had to say to myself, like, he's doing this to get a rise
out of you.
He don't really think this.
To get a rise
fucking piss you off.
That's exactly.
And I was just like,
that's exactly.
Fine.
Right. And that takes my fun. That takes my fun away. I'm just not even going.
Because I'm going to be.
You figured out.
Be mature about
you figured out my scheme, and now it's no fun
but you
anymore.
fucking told me.
I know.
I had to coach myself. Like,
it's still. Even though I told you, you still fell for it a couple times.
I mean, here's the thing. I'm gonna always fall for it because I know everybody hates the word trigger, but it is a trigger. But I'm a grown up enough to be like, let me step back, let me go walk away and have a conversation with myself, and I'll come back later. And if it bugged me that much, I'll just curse you the fuck out. And I ain't above it.
And I'm open to that.
You're probably looking forward to it.
Actually, it's kind of fun. I push my boys' buttons all the time. That's the point.
Anyway, ain't your turn to answer the question?
Oh, I forgot the question now. We didn't spun off. How do you handle tension when you're
apparently y'all fight?
Makes others uncomfortable. I think and this isn't just me. I think men when I'm be honest, I don't think men handle it well, and I'm not sure that I've ever handled it the best.
Well, I mean, you just said y'all have a fucking boxing match, and
no, that's not growth. That's usually us being assholes to each other. But Spence said something earlier about water meeting water.
Yes, he did say water will rise to its level.
Water will rise to its level,
yeah.
Right? And most of the time, I think that's true. And when the water doesn't rise, when there's a non-leveling, I think those friendships just naturally evaporate.
Yeah, and you just stop talking to motherfuckers.
And I don't think you do it intentionally. I don't think you just.
Yes, you do. You don't just stop. You don't just accidentally stop talking to somebody.
No, I think women cut each other off. I don't think men necessarily cut each other off. I think the relationship just fades.
See.
Go ahead.
Motherfuckers get on my nerves.
Go ahead.
I have heard you say.
What have you heard me say?
Verbatim, I don't fuck with that nigga anymore. That is intentional. That's planned, and that's the strategy.
I say that shit often, but that's not. Those aren't real friends. Those are associates, acquaintances, people I know.
Okay.
People I entertain.
Okay, fair.
You've never heard me say that about any of my people.
I mean, look, totally fair.
That's all I'm saying. Fair. So I think when those relationships that you really cherish and care about, when the water isn't rising together, I think they level out. And as I said earlier, I think people just kind of fall away. No matter the efforts, no matter how intentional you are about it.
Melody, hilarious. It's funny, y'all passive aggressive. Men or women or both.
Yeah, I don't think it's passive aggressive because I don't think it's aggressive at all. I think people just naturally
they walk away or they distance themselves from the things that are uncomfortable.
I think what happens is you naturally gravitate toward people that walk your path, that are interested in the things you're interested in, that do the activities you're interested in. And if you grow and your boy still wants to go to the strip club every Saturday, you just naturally don't hang out with them as much because you're not into that anymore.
Yeah.
And that eliminates a level of the friendship.
I want to
Because you just don't do it. If you still got a boy that's strip club is extreme, but you know that hoops every week, and you kind of switch to golf. Naturally, those things just kind of dissipate, and that's kind of how male friendships work in that way. You just kind of move in separate directions, and you see each other in the street, and it's still motherfucking love, right? You see that he still gets the invite to the birthday party. He still gets the invite to this, that, and that. He might not show up, but he still gets the invite.
Yeah,
when you all separate,
there's nothing. I actually had the same friend. We have gone through many bouts of not talking, but somehow before this last time, we've always found ourselves way back to each other. I hadn't talked to her at that point. I was pregnant with my daughter. I hadn't talked to her in a year. And then like the day I got home or the day after I got home, I get a phone call from her in tears crying. She was like, I can't believe you didn't call and tell me you had a baby. I was like, bitch, I ain't talked to you in a fucking year. What the fuck I look like calling you? Women are crazy. I want to go back to something in the comments that Trinia, I think you said. Trinity. That one, yeah. I don't like this idea. It wasn't that one. Yeah. I don't like this idea that people upset you, and when you distance yourself, they know why you aren't talking to them. I think we all need to be fair and say we both contributed to whatever happened, because you can very easily hear the side of the other person and realize, yeah, I did some missteps there too, right? Like even with this girl I'm talking about, I can own that there were some missteps on my behalf for sure. And whatever she would say to me, some of it would probably be valid. I'm not gonna say all of it would be valid, but pieces of it would be valid. So
everybody's feelings are valid.
I want us to be more receptive. Wow, you need your glasses, Grandpa. We need to be more receptive.
I was trying to read that thing in my face. My face ID on. Thank you very much.
We need to be more receptive to this idea that falling outs aren't 100% anybody's fault. Everybody got a little bit of a say so or a little bit of a part in it.
I agree with that. I think any disagreement that is a two-way street.
Absolutely.
As I might have even 2% in it, but I had something. I think what people don't understand though sometimes is and I have this conversation with my wife a lot. Like it's not necessarily even what you say, it's how you say it. It's the way you came across.
Absolutely.
When you approach me with it, how you approach me with it. Your point might be 100% valid, but if you came at me on 1,000, how am I possibly going to hear this? Right. So, even in that, I think tone, tenor, all of that matters. And we got to own our piece and when it goes left. Most of the time, it's your fault, though.
And Melanie, I actually 50% agree with you. I think most men do dislike and avoid confrontation, but I only think that's with women. I don't think they avoid or dislike confrontation with men.
We love confrontation with each other.
You see, so they only dislike it when it comes to women.
Go to a barbershop on a Saturday at noon and sit around till 2 and see how much confrontation we dislike.
I mean, y'all love a confrontation. Y'all can do a fucking fist fight. Y'all love it.
Maybe not this age, but yeah. Now we're a little sore.
It's with women. And that's an interesting. Why do y'all hate that? Even with y'all female friends, y'all dislike confrontation. We
can't win a confrontation with you all.
Why does it need to be winning? Because it's competition.
Because confrontation.
That confrontation is not a sport.
Boxing is a sport. That's confrontation.
No, boxing is a sport.
Hold on.
Confrontation is not a sport. A disagreement is not a sport.
Let's be real here. Let's keep it a buck. If we get into a disagreement, we get into an argument, what do I want to do?
I'll overtalk me.
Win the argument.
Fine, fair.
It's always a competition. The best advice I ever got from the slight bit of counseling I've ever been to in my life.
The 2 sessions.
The 2 sessions I went to with my ex-wife. Clear as my ex-wife, so it didn't completely work. But the best piece of advice I ever got, she was like, when you get in confrontation with your wife, what do you want to do? I want to win the argument. She's like, so if you win, she loses. You want your wife to lose? Damn, when you put it like that, right? But when you're in the middle of the confrontation, you want to win the argument. I want you to see my point of view and agree. Mm-hmm. Even if it trumps your point of view and you disagree with the hell you said the first one. So I think that middle ground is what gets hard.
And it's very hard when your emotions are elevated.
Exactly.
To be that self-aware because you are caught up in what you think and how you feel.
Right.
It's a really weak muscle to build, to be able to hear somebody's a different perspective when you are in your story or your narrative about whatever the fuck
And your
happened.
feelings.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. Are you
Mhm.
maintaining your friendships based on history or shared values? And you're not obligated to stay where you're no longer growing. True or toxic? I think these two go hand in hand. So are you
Did you get this from ChatGPT?
No, this is be false all the way, baby. So are
Wait,
you
say that. Wait a minute. Let me read that shit again.
hold on.
That was like a narrative.
Are you maintaining your friendships based on the history
okay
of those
share?
friendships or shared values? Let's start there.
No, I don't believe in maintaining friendships because I've known you a long time. I have done that, and that's always burned me. It was a valuable lesson for me. I will admit this, right? There was a really long time into my adulthood where I maintained friendships, even though they were hurting my feelings, even though they were hurting me, and they were doing things. I don't think they were doing this stuff intentionally, but because I was such a people pleaser at the time, they would do stuff I would know would hurt me, and I wouldn't say anything because, I wanted to maintain the friendships. So I'm not in that space anymore. So no, I do not maintain relationships because I've known you for 2,000 years. I maintain relationships because I love you. You're important to me. You're valuable to me for whatever the X number of reasons are.
Mhm.
And that keeps me in a relationship versus like I've known you 200 years. Even though a lot of my friends I have known for like a really long
I was about to say
time.
both and.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
To be frank,
For you?
both and. There are the reason my friends are my friends to this day is because I value the friendships, but I also, to be frank, overlook a lot of bullshit. We might not always be on the same accord. I hate to say the same level. That's very subjective, but even just the same mind.
Y'all equally yoked. You fucking love that stupid
I hate that
saying.
shit too. we and levels like doesn't mean I got more money, he got more money, whatever the case may be. We just might see things differently, move in different spaces and spheres. So I think it's both. And for me, I hold on to my friendships because I've had them for so long, because I trust them so much, because I know they got my back no matter what. But the reason they've persisted this long, because I've had a lot of friends over the years and a lot of folks I don't even, don't know.
We know, nigga.
Shut up. I don't even know where they are, how they doing. I don't talk to them. For a variety of reasons. But the reason these relationships have persisted is because I care about them, and also because we are equally yoked. Or
I hate that shit.
I hate that shit. But we move in symmetry to a certain degree. Not always. But there's a symmetry there, which is why my friendships have persisted for 30 plus years.
If you want to be my friend, you need to have these two qualities. I will say this. I only like people who are 100% self-aware. And I mean 100% self-aware.
Good point.
I mean, you always have, maybe 90% self-aware because you always have blind spots about who you are as a human being, right? I only like people who own they shit, right? Good or bad, they own they shit.
Oh, that's why we friends.
I know, I've told you that.
I say I'm fucked up all the time.
Yeah, and I need people who challenge me, right? I don't like yes people. I don't like people who agree for the sake of agreeing. I hate them motherfuckers. I need people who
nice.
I mean, and I came to you like a couple of weeks ago and I was like, look, I'm gonna tell you this thing. I want your opinion, right? And I want your actual opinion. If you can do those two things, me and you will probably be besties. Or you'll be one of the besties. You'll be one of the 10.
You'll be in a sphere.
And I mean, Brian, I don't know how you crack Brian's. I don't know, but that's how you crack mine if you want to be my homie.
Good Lord. So you're not obligated to stay where you're no longer growing.
No.
True or toxic?
No. I don't think you should stay in relationships that aren't working for you anymore. And I will say this, that's part of my gripe when men talk about how women leave them. I mean, first of all,
we talk about friendship.
I know, but it's all in the same vein, right? First of all, they probably didn't just decide to wake up and leave your ass that day, right? It's been many things over time, right? Second, Nobody should stay in a relationship that does not satisfy them anymore. Friendship, romantic,
Wait.
parents, it doesn't matter if it has.
Wait. I said if it's not if it's not helping your growth,
Yeah.
you got to leave it.
Yes. Bye. See you later. Or even you may not even leave it. Maybe you just like downgrade them to an acquaintance or whatever. I don't know, but I don't think you should. I think all of your relationships should be serving some purpose in your life. And that doesn't mean that they have to be like you could just have people because they're fun. I think that is totally acceptable for a friendship.
Sure.
That they are just fun. Or you can have people where you talk about money with. I think that's completely fair. But I think whoever's in your life needs to fit nicely into whoever you are at the time. And then we always forget we're constantly changing. So it shouldn't surprise you that your circles change because you're constantly changing. So it should be a constant evolution. Now, some people evolve with you, but not everybody.
Yeah, I agree with you, Toya. Length is not quality. I think that quality equals length. I think it's the reverse.
Yeah.
The quality of the friendship means you've been around this long. But I will disagree. I'll disagree with you here.
Finally.
I think I won the first time. I think that there's to Toya's point though. I think there's a certain amount of value in quantity. Because
you mean quality?
No, quantity.
Okay.
Quantity of the amount of time I've known somebody.
Oh, okay.
They might not necessarily be the fertilizers to my growth.
Okay.
Per se. But just having that trusted person in my life, even if they can't understand how I'm moving in certain ways, they're not hating on it. They're not trying to pull me down. They just don't get it because they don't move in that way.
But you need people like that.
Yes. But what I'm saying is I think that there's a certain level when quantity plays an important part in the quality of your life.
I don't hate that.
I think it's a little toxic to say they don't necessarily feed my growth.
Well, I guess maybe that we probably should have started there. What do we mean by growth? I would say they need to be able to fit. A better way, at least from my point of view, is they need to be able to support, probably a better word, whoever you are at that time period, right? Because you're constantly evolving. Growing is probably not the right word, but you're constantly evolving.
Sure.
Your interests change, you change, your body change, your mind change. They need to be able to support whatever phase you're in your life. And some people can and some people can't.
So I'm going to make a very basic example. Let's say I decide to be vegan. What's up, Jamal? Let's say I decide to be...
Where is he?
I don't know. He been hiding it. Let's say I decide to be vegan. And my boys all love some bacon, right? And I say, hey, man, I'm vegan. I'm not doing that no more, blah, blah, blah. And we having a barbecue. And they all got some pork rib tips and blah, 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 blah. And I'm eating my veggie burger, right? Some people would say, because I'm not eating pork anymore, because I'm vegan, and you still doing that over there, you're not supporting my growth. And my point
would disagree with that.
I'm not saying it's right, but what I'm saying is my point would be, sure, that if you stop drinking and we all watching the game, now I'm supposed to drink alcohol-free beer, maybe I support you in that way, sure. Maybe that's the love and level we got, and I got your support that way. But I'm also, if I want a Corona and you drinking grape juice, I'm not pushing a Corona in your mouth like, drink this beer. I'm still going to live my life and you still going to live your life. But some people feel like that's not the support and they've outgrown.
Well, then they're toxic. I would say people like that are toxic. People who feel like because I decide not to drink alcohol that we can't be cool no more because you're a drunk. Like, and I don't mean like an actual drunk, like you're a drunk. I feel like you can acknowledge like, okay, you are transitioning. I'll have some non-alcoholic beer for you, but I'm still going to drink this Dos Equis. I feel like that is supporting somebody's evolution, not saying that everybody in your circle has to be on one band, one sound kind of thinking. That's kind of weird. And
that's where I'm talking about the toxicity. And
I do think it also depends though. If you have a friend who is a recovering alcoholic, right? I think it would behoove you to maybe curb what you do at least for a time period and in order to support them, because obviously alcohol is a trigger. Right? Those are the circumstances where I would say you probably should adjust your lifestyle, at least when they're around, just a little bit to help aid with that.
What I'm saying is, if you decide,
of course, if I'm an alcoholic, we just gonna have to break up.
Listen, if you vegan and I got some pork and beef on the grill, I ain't cleaning that whole grill for your ass. You go get some of these pork juices. You just can't get a skillet and like. I ain't flipping the grate over nothing. I'm kidding.
Can't put a little foil over it.
You can you can cook that shit at home and then bring it with yourself. Messing with the flavor of my grill.
How did that mess with it? It's a damn black bean burger. How would that? How's that gonna mess with
I don't want
pork?
that all over my charcoal, dripping that shit off.
I hate you.
You love me.
I do.
You love me. But yeah, I know. I feel you. All right, so let me ask you this, because I don't know if a lot of people think about this.
Mm-hmm.
How do you create space for emotional vulnerability with friends, not just support roles?
What do you mean by that? Like, how do I create space? Like, if like my friend needs to cry, like that, or like what do we mean here?
It's a good question.
You made the damn question. You don't even know what the fuck you meant.
I wrote the question. So I think when we have friendships, I think friendships are primarily based in support. If I'm breaking
not
down
at first though, they're primarily based on whatever,
based on fun,
some surface ass,
yeah, whatever. But I think at their root, if they last long enough, there's some level of support there.
Mm-hmm.
I support your fun, I support your ambitions, I support your marriage, I support this, I support that, right? And that there's fun in the mix of all that, right?
Yeah.
But how do you create space where it's not just about that support? It's really about some emotional vulnerability.
So I'm going to say something that's a little scary. I think there's two ways to do it. One, I think you have to be vulnerable first. I think you got to do it first, right? I think because nobody knows when that moment appears. But I think if you, for whatever reason, you get comfortable enough with a person.
That's right. When Rama eat this damn rib, you kiss my.
You say to yourself like, all right, I'm having a moment that I happen to be on the phone with them. I'm going to share. And I'm not saying you got to spill your guts. Maybe you should share a little and see what their reaction is, right? Because people are only vulnerable when they feel like the space is there. So sure. I feel like you got to tiptoe, baby steps into the water of vulnerability, but you got to do it first. Or the other way is if you know something's going on with somebody, I think you reach out to them and say, hey, I know X is happening. No, I'm here. And I say this all the time, my friend. No, I'm here to talk and not talk. I want you to know that I'm making myself available to be whatever you need in that moment. Yeah. Not like that, nigga. Not like that.
That's not what you get nasty. That's not even what I was thinking.
Yeah.
You ain't never told me that.
Have you come to me with some hard shit?
No, you usually say, what the hell going on? Let's talk about it now.
True. Because you my friend. I'm not soft pedaling that shit with you no more.
We're talking about friendship.
Yeah, but that's somebody I'm trying to build some kind of space to be vulnerable. We fucking 10 years in.
You don't have to build space for me to be vulnerable?
I'm going to tell you what the fuck is wrong, Brian. Let's talk about it. Shit. That's not true. I did this very same thing with you. I don't know if you want to talk about this or not, but
I'm an open book.
Okay, well, whenever you haven't talked about this on the show, and I don't know how many people know, but when you first told me about your mom, right? Like I spent like the first couple of weeks like calling and saying, hey, you okay? What's happening? You good?
But you didn't give me this. I know you might be in a space, and then once you feel like
this should happen, like I did tell you, like I'm here. You gonna make me go find a goddamn text?
I'm just messing with you.
But yeah, I try to be that person. I think I don't know if there's a perfect answer for this. I almost feel like it just kind of happens, right?
Let me tell you,
like sex.
That shit don't happen. Let me tell you what just don't happen for me.
Be vulnerable. Like y'all gotta work on that. That's part of why a lot of y'all are angry.
I don't want to talk to you about that. No, I'm kidding.
Y'all gotta work on that. That's why some of y'all are lonely and sad and ain't got no fucking women right now.
Whoa, wow.
Wow, I'm just saying. That's the loneliest epidemic. Y'all can't get no women right now.
I already know who you're talking about. I'm not even gonna put it out there.
Ooh, wasn't talking about nobody specific. I'm talking about the whole of fucking Facebook. Y'all sound some lonely ass niggas.
We're not even talking about that. So I think you're right. I think even my closest male friends, we know each other well enough now where it's like, what's happening?
Yeah.
When you outside of your body, when you're outside of your normal space, we talk enough where we know work is stressful, wife is stressful, kids are stressful, whatever, the health is stressful, whatever it may be. So to your point, I think it's very important to open up that space of vulnerability by one, just letting people know you're there.
Yeah.
Right. Like you might not even want to talk about this. This might be where you at right now. But if you ever need to, I got you, dog.
Yeah.
And two, to be frank, for men, we'd be like,
I gotta fight.
No, actually, yes. Not physically, but it's like, hey man, what's going on with you, bro? Man, I'm good, man. No, the fuck you ain't. I know you ain't good. Motherfucker, you just hung up on me 2 days ago.
You
That's not what
scared them into being vulnerable?
Yes. Sometimes we gotta push.
Is that effective?
We have to push each other to be vulnerable and being like, bruh, I know it ain't good, and it's cool to talk to me about it. I'm here, bruh. Stop being a fucking.
Have any of your friends cried in front of you? Have you cried in front of your friends? Any of them?
I probably haven't cried since I was, to be frank, since I was 15. So
so no.
I'm not saying that to be a tough guy. I'm just saying it just hasn't really happened.
I'm sure most men are gonna say that shit either. I ain't cried since I was 6.
Again, I'm not making that to be a tough guy role. It's just hold on, let me rephrase that. Because I'm getting old and soft as hell.
I was sitting there thinking to myself, like
it could be a mayonnaise commercial and I might tear up on your ass, but not I'm surely alone. When
have any of your boys cried in front of you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, broken down, like weeping into my shoulder.
Aww,
shirt
awesome.
wet crying.
Aww. You were like, nigga, get off my
This is my favorite shirt. No. And it's scary in a way, and it's because you don't see because this is not how we move. To see a boy in this weakness like that, it's a little scary, but it's also love, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm glad that he could release that in my direction, and I could be the conduit for him to feel safe enough and vulnerable enough to release that. Because we often can't do that with you all. That's not a negative, and that's not a shot at women. I'm just saying,
women, so I don't know.
I'm just saying, society has built us up not to do it. To be frank, you all have built us up not to do it.
I think that's fair.
So when we can have each other in those moments, we built each other up not to do it with each other. So when you've gotten to a point with your male friend where you all can be that emotional outlet and vent for each other, it's a special thing.
You teared up at the end of Sinners?
Oh, come on, Spence. I ain't front on you. Because
I am like
I teared up at the end of Indecent Proposal when they reached over the thing and touched each other's hands because they was done, and he gave away $1 million and he just wanted his wife back after she'd been ruined by Robert Redford.
Whatever,
anyway,
he agreed. He wanted that fucking $1 million.
He did.
Then I'll be vulnerable. I cried at the very beginning of Black Panther when they were like going over the mountains and shit. I cannot tell you why.
When they first entered Wakanda?
Yeah, I do not know why. I just started like tearing up.
Years of repression.
I was like, what the fuck am I crying for?
Years of repression to slavery. That was slavery still in your heart. You didn't know it.
Seeing the black people being free. Aw, yeah. But I will say, men, y'all need to do better.
We do.
And I will say, women, I don't know how to fix this, right? I realize men do not have spaces to be vulnerable. I don't know how to fix that for y'all, but I feel like y'all need to fix that for yourselves. Y'all need to just start crying in front of folks and see who stay and who goes. Shit. Because you got to get that shit out. You go die.
Hey, let me tell you how to clear a room out fast. Let two brothers start crying.
I didn't say 2, 1. 1 is enough.
One, but let 2 of it happen.
Well, I can see how that's too much.
See, then we can't even.
That's 2 of y'all crying?
If I go to the Moors Emancipation Ball right now, start crying in the middle of the floor, watch how many people leave the party.
I don't believe you. I think what will happen is a whole bunch of fucking bitches go walk up and be like, "What's wrong?"
That's true too.
What
That's
happened?
true too.
Yeah.
That's true too.
Now niggas gonna be like, "The fuck is wrong with this
That's-
nigga?
that-
Is this a ploy? Is he pandering?"
That's true. You ain't lying. Hold on. All right. Two more quick ones. How do you lovingly release relationships that no longer serve your growth? And I think
I don't know. I'll let you know when I do it.
No, you have done it.
No, I didn't. I just stopped fucking talking to her.
Oh, so not lovingly.
Yes, but I'm like, I'll let you know when it happens. I don't know.
Not lovingly. I think. All right. So I have done this.
Oh, you have?
I have done.
Oh,
this.
wow, you're so much more mature than me.
I have done this. And I think so. The one instance that I can bring up as an example. We were sitting back one day, and we had kind of drifted apart already, and every interaction felt a little forced. And one day we were sitting back, and we met somewhere to watch a game and wings. This is what men do. And we had a couple of beers, and I was like, "Hey, man, listen. You are moving in a direction that I wholeheartedly love and support and wish you the best in, and I'm doing my thing. And we're just in two different directions
Wow,
right
it's
now."
very mature.
It was frank because you could feel, even while we're sitting there, it's like, so how about those Bulls? Like I was like, bro, we don't have to, right? Like roommates in college.
Mhm.
Right, like we don't have. I love you, and I got your back, no matter what. But we don't have to force this relationship. You moving in a way you moving, and I'm moving in a way I'm moving. And right now they're not really jiving. And maybe one day we'll circle back and be where we were. But we're not there right now, and it's okay. I'm gonna be the first one to say that it's okay. We ain't gotta play this game, and hopefully one day we'll meet back in the middle again.
Okay.
And I love you, and I got your back. You ever call me and need me for anything? I got you. We might not talk for 10 years. I got you.
Wow, so mature.
And we haven't talked to 10 years.
I was gonna ask, like, have y'all made your way back to each other? No,
we have not.
I will say I'm way better at it in my romantic relationships than in my friendships. Like I can very amicably, because I try not to take things personally. It's hard in any relationship not to take them personally, but I try not to take them personally, and I will come to somebody and say, "Hey, I've said this. I don't think I'm a good fit for you. I don't think I'm the right person."
In romantic relationship.
Well, like, I don't think
it's a different situation.
You think it would be easier to tell a friend that than somebody like
Absolutely
you
not.
love?
I disagree.
I mean, I said you would think.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm proving that it's not easier.
I think it's way easier to break up a romantic relationship than to break up a friendship.
But you actually almost
have an actual conversation about it. Usually we just ghost each other, or we just fade. We had once a week drinks that went to 2 weeks and went to a month, that went to a year, that went to never. You can't really do that in a romantic sense. So you almost
that's true. You do. You have to have a conversation.
You almost have to have that conversation.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I'm excellent at it in a relationship. Got my script down pat. I'm awesome. Call me for tips and tricks. No, but to your point, yeah, it's hard to be like sitting there with your friend, like, you know what? I don't think. Actually, that's not true. Same girl. I think one of our last conversations, I said to her, like, you know what? I don't think I'm the friend you need right now. I think you need a different type of friend. And I understand that the way that I'm built, it does not match your needs.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't disagree. I mean, I was also pointing out that she wasn't what I needed in a friendship. But, I try to put it on me because I need to be responsible for the parts I play in things. So I can do it. But I don't break up with friends very often. So this is not something I get a lot of practice in. Hopefully. I'd like to think, again, I've had most of the people, except the friends I stole from Brian, I've known for a really long time. Like if you ever, one of my oldest friends I've known since I was 5. So most of the people I've kept for a really long time.
First of all, don't ever roll your eyes when you say stole from Brian, because you did.
I did not.
You stole my friends.
No, let's be clear. They met me, thought I was adorable, and became my friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got to say. It's 3
It's
motherfuckers.
fine.
Like
how many people does it have to be?
You have 5,000 Facebook friends.
Oh my
5,000.
Let's hold on, followers.
5,000.
Let's keep it a buck.
I'm friends with 3.
Whatever.
And if we keep it a buck, most of his friends love me.
As well they should. You're lovable. What I'm
am.
saying is, you're welcome. All right, so to end this, to wrap this up,
Yes.
what's a piece of advice someone in your circle gave you that changed your life?
Oh, Brian would kill me if I didn't mention this. The time Brian
What-
told me to
what?
work 2 jobs. That actually changed my life. It changed my life's trajectory. Taking that fucking piece of advice.
I'll tell you, this is very specific.
So I had recently been laid off from my gig. Not recently, actually, I had been laid off for about 6 months at that point. It was 2020. It was 2020. It was a pandemic,
Mhm.
and I had taken a job. I didn't really want the job, but I was like, I need to work, so I'm gonna take it. And I ended up getting an offer from a place I really wanted to work. So I'm sitting on the phone with Brian, like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? Which one am I gonna take? How am I gonna quit these people? And I've only worked there for 2 weeks. And Brian was like, well, why you gotta quit? Why can't you work them both? And I was like, I never thought of that. Never occurred to me. So I did for an entire year and stacked my cash.
Double salary, baby.
That was bruh.
Thank you.
I know nobody saw that coming, but Brian Foster, at least the most recent, has changed my life. It's crazy. I hate you so hard. Why couldn't it be somebody else? Because he will not let me forget that shit.
Ever. Ever in life.
You forgot because you were like, what I do?
Well, I didn't know where you were going with that because I've said
How
so
many
many
fucking pieces of
I've said so many brilliant nuggets. I didn't know where you were going to go with
what about you, sir? It won't be Chantel, I'm sure.
What's the question?
Nigga, you
A piece of advice somebody gave me that changed my life.
obviously the goddamn therapist.
That ain't a friend. I won't name the friend because it's irrelevant. But a friend of mine told me once, when it came to my relationship, my marriage, they were like, "You need to be a touch more transparent," which I found shocking because I thought I was the most transparent dude ever. But what he told me was, you need to be a touch more transparent about what you really feel about how she makes you feel. And it really has, once I injected that, it was very recent, to be frank.
Really?
Yeah, it was very recent.
Oh, shout out to whoever this friend is.
Yeah.
I'll find out after the show wraps.
Once I injected that into my conversations with my wife about how it's not necessarily about what you say, how it is about how you say and what you say and what you're saying, but about how those things make me feel. Regardless of how she intended it, it really has changed the trajectory of where we are as a couple.
Oh, she just don't tell you fuck you, nigga. Fuck your feelings.
She still does, but
damn.
I'm kidding.
I don't believe that, Allie.
I'm kidding. But it really more so than our interactions together, it made me recalibrate me. Right. And so now everything that might piss me off or put me in a mood or whatever the case may be, some of those things I gotta own myself and say, bro, shut up, you tripping. It wasn't even that serious. And some things it's like, nah, that's worth mentioning and saying, and less than, hey, you this, that. It's more like you make me feel this, that, and the other. And it makes the conversation go a little bit different because now it's not about right or wrong. It's about how we're relating to each other and how we make each other feel. And that's different.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
Shout out to whoever this person was. That's lovely.
Salute to you, brother.
And shout out to you for actually implementing it because it would have been very easy for you to poo-poo that. Like, I tell that bitch shit.
No, when he said it, it made all the sense in the world, right? It's super easy to be like, you did this, you did that, ... as opposed to you kind of take I won't say the responsibility away, but the onus away of like, you're doing it intentionally. As opposed to you're doing it intentionally, what we're saying is, I know you're not really doing it intentional, but when you do that, it makes me feel this way.
You mean like what I told you that you poo-pooed on it first? And you and Jen keep poo-pooing on it. Yeah, making it about me.
Yes. Just like that. Just like that.
Y'all see that?
Just like that. Fuck your feelings.
You and Jennifer.
Good, but here's me and Jennifer love you. You know, here's the difference. Now I do the shit intentionally. Just to mess with you. And that's real love. If I can't poke at you, then I either hate you or love you. And
No,
you know it's
but
love.
that is I think that's the best way to close this. Like being more transparent, friend or foe. Well, maybe not the foe,
No.
but friends or lovers. Like being more, and family too. Being more transparent about how what happens makes you feel. Now with parents, I feel like that strategy is gonna be real hard to execute because these boomers are just
that's a whole other
goddamn
situation.
But at least for the other people, I think it's an interesting strategy to take. I think people are receptive when they know that they've had an impact on you.
Agreed. And BT, what's up, BT? He just made a very interesting. If it won't matter in 5 years, then don't spend 5 minutes on it.
That's real easy to say.
I'm still wrestling with that one, BT. I'm still wrestling with that one.
That's hard to say because you don't, when you're in the moment, when you're upset, it's hard to, at least for me, it's hard for me to be able to tell myself, Chantel, you're not going to care about this tomorrow because you're fucking pissed.
Here's, and I think that's an excellent point, but here would be my one counter. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes, it's not really about that thing.
Yeah, it's about many things.
Oftentimes, it's about many things, and that thing is just a trigger or a straw that broke the camel's back that led to the biggest feeling that you had.
For sure.
So, yeah, in the moment, it's like, all right, you didn't put your socks in the such and such, no big deal. But after a while, it's like, all right, you don't respect what I do to keep this house clean, and you just leaving your drawers all over the place is a manifestation of your lack of respect for what I do to make this house a home. And that's where it gets hard to separate the two. It's not really about the drawers, but it is about the drawers.
No, I totally agree. And it's hard for people to see the forest for the trees.
Facts. I also want to say this, Sean. You are an amazing friend, and I love you. And I don't let folks in my circle. You already know that. Not that I don't let. Not that I got this bear like, fuck you, can't get in my circle. It's that I don't really. I don't know. I just don't really. Shit, to be honest, need a whole bunch of new friends because I got some amazing friends in my life. You do
need me, Brian Foster.
But what I'm saying, fuck you. But when the right people enter your life at the right time, I'm very receptive to keeping them around, and you've been one of those people, and I appreciate you.
Oh, I don't even know. I'm still trying to figure out how we became friends. It's the most bizarre. We went from feeding strange white people fries on the sidewalk. I was not doing that. I was watching somebody do that. You were with us when we were doing it. That shit was super. You first started off with high fives, then it went to French fries. Strange. I don't know.
But I think that's how real friendships are formed, right? Like we can't even tell. Like, how did we get here?
Like I know how we met. I just don't know how
did we get here?
Yeah, I definitely.
How did we get here? Don't even matter. You my people, and I love you.
Oh, thank you, B-Falls. You're one of my best friends too. I have to say.
Salute.
Hey, I don't have a drink.
That's all right.
Here's my
That's
cell
love.
phone.
Salute. Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching us. Another episode of In the Zone is in the books. We will figure out. Listen, it's gonna be like y'all don't know this, but it's hot as shit in this studio. It's like no air. It's like so. If it's 90-something degrees next week, we might not be here. But if it's manageable, we will be here with another topic.
Y'all better pray for like 72.
We will be here with another topic. Appreciate you all watching.
Y'all can send us stuff. I tell y'all all the time, send us topics. We love good ideas.
And we love you.
And bad ideas.
Until next time.
In the zone. 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 Podcast. In the zone. In the zone. In the zone. Podcast. In the zone. In the zone. In the zone. Podcast. In the zone. In the zone. In the zone. Podcast. In the zone. In the zone. In the zone. Podcast. 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 In the zone. In the zone. In the zone.